How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Venom: The Last Dance, the third and possibly final Venom movie. Also, possibly the second Sony Spider-Man universe movie. I don't know what the fate is with that franchise, but this was directed by Kelly Marcel, and once again stars Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, aka Venom, as well as Chiwetel Ejiofor. Sorry if I mispronounced that name. Juno Tempo and Andy Serkis. And in this movie, Venom and Eddie are being hunted by both their worlds. Noel, who the creator of symbiotes, is trying to get this codex that Eddie and Venom have. The special ops team is hunting Eddie down due to the events of the previous Venom movie, Venom Let There Be Carnage. And yes, that appearance that Eddie Brock and Venom had in Spider-Man No Way Home's mid-credit scene feels pointless now. In fact, Venom, the symbiote, even makes a comment about like the multiverse being shit. Sorry for my language, but my minor spoiler. But is it really a spoiler at this point? But yeah, as far as this SSU has gone, I reviewed Madam Web earlier this year. That movie was just bad. I reviewed Morbius a couple years ago. That was another bad movie. I didn't mind Venom Let There Be Carnage. I think I gave it too high of a grade when I reviewed although I did like the movie, but I wouldn't grade it as high as I did at the time. I think at that time, because movies were coming out in theaters again, I was just excited to go see a superhero movie in theaters. The first Venom movie, I don't think is bad, but I don't think it's good either. It's a mixed bag. That's basically what the Venom movies have been. They've been a mixed bag of they're not bad or they're not bad enough to be considered bad movies, but they're not good enough to be considered good movies. They have some good moments. The acting is fine. I mean, Tom Hardy in these movies, I think, is great, and he's great in this movie as well. But the acting, while nothing spectacular, isn't terrible either. Morbius and Madam Web had terrible acting. Here, the acting is okay. I did like Andy Serkis as Noel in the, I guess, 5 minutes that we saw him as Noel. The design of Noel looks really cool. There is potential for Noel. Chiwetel Ejiofor was fine as this leader of the special ops team that's hunting down Eddie Brock and the symbiote. Juno Tempo, sorry, playing this scientist who is trying to live out her brother's dream, who got into an accident with her brother, a lightning accident when they were kids, when they were younger. She was okay, but there's nothing really spectacular as far as the acting goes, but it's not awful either. But yeah, similar to the other two Venom movies, this is a mixed bag. You have the good moments of this movie, such as, as I said, Tom Hardy's acting, his banter, the banter between Eddie and Venom, the action when it's there, still very good. The symbiotes look really good, the symbiote designs. The third act is very entertaining. I like the third act in this movie quite a bit. It's the opposite of the third act of Joker 2, I'll tell you that much. Where the third act of Joker 2 completely ruined that movie, the third act in this movie really helped Venom the Last Dance. I almost called it Let There Be Carnage. Uh, the funny moments in this movie, I will say, I felt like the funny moments in this movie, while they didn't always land, when they did land, they were funny, particularly when Eddie Brock is riding a Venom symbiote horse thing. I will say I think this is the most enjoyable of the Venom movies personally. I would say it's the most enjoyable one where I think the humor works better. And if the humor didn't land, it doesn't come across as cringe. It's just, yeah, it just doesn't work, but it doesn't make for a bad scene. And I think the ending, how the story ends, I think it ended on a pretty good note. Where if this is it for Eddie Brock's story in this universe or this version of Eddie Brock, I think it ended on a satisfying note. But also, if he were to return, or I mean, I think we've seen between the multiverse and money in real life that people can come back and play these roles. I mean, we thought Logan would be the end of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and he comes back and plays a different version of the character. So whether Tom Hardy comes back and plays his version of Eddie Brock or another version of Eddie Brock, I think the door's open. He sounds like he's open to it, but he's also ready to move on. I don't know, but yeah, those are pretty much my positives for the movie. Um, as far as the negatives or stuff that I have mixed thoughts on, because it's not that I have negative thoughts on this, it's just more so mixed thoughts. It's that, first of all, this movie is around an hour and 50 minutes long. It feels much shorter. And first of all, Sony has too long of credits. This was something I noticed with the first Venom movie, not so much with Venom Let There Be Carnage. But I think once the mid-credit scene of Venom Let There Be Carnage was shown, I just left the theater. With this one, it was just the credits were just so long. I think Sony overall just has long credits with their movies because I noticed that with, I think, Spider-Man Far From Home as well. So whether it's their SSU or even their MCU Spider-Man movies, Sony just has too long of credits at this point. Maybe to add on to that runtime, I don't know. Um, the thing is, while I don't think the plot of this movie is terrible, it's definitely not the worst plot in a Sony Spider Verse movie. It definitely has too many convenient plot points. For example, there's this family that Eddie Brock meets up with. The dad's played by Ricey Fonz. And yes, we know he played Dr. Connors in the Amazing Spider Man movie and Spider Man No Way Home. He voiced the lizard. And yeah, Sony with their marketing trying to show him in the trailer, making people think, hey, is he playing Dr. Connors in this universe? No, he plays this hippie dad. He's taking his family out to go see aliens before Area 51 shuts down or something like that. And I will say the family is likable. In a franchise like this, where there's a lot of forgettable characters and some characters that are annoying, you could easily make this family annoying. This was actually a likable family. So kudos to them. Come to think of it, I think the Venom franchise in the Sony universe, even if the characters aren't memorable, they're at least likable and not annoying. But yeah, he meets up with his family. Then they happen to be looking for aliens, and they happen to be going to Area 51, where the third act's going to happen, and Eddie Brock's going to have to help them at some point. It's just another convenient thing. Another thing of convenience is we that Venom can't bond with Eddie too much in this movie because these aliens that Nola's sending to find the codex that they have, they can see Eddie and Venom when Eddie has the symbiote suit on. Because if you notice, there's really not a whole lot of Venom in this movie compared to other movies. And by the way, there's a moment where Venom is in the suit. It's shown in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. That shot you see of Venom with Mrs. Chen, which is which was, in my opinion, the dumbest part of the movie. I mean, yeah, it's goofy in a dumb way. It's funny, but it's so dumb and kind of feels pointless, other than to have something happen later on. But there's not a whole lot of Venom in this movie, and this is the last dance. This is the last movie. And you would think for the last movie they would have more Venom in the movie, more action. The action's good. So I don't know why they're kind of lacking in on the action in this movie at times, when the action has always been a strong point in the Venom movies. But yeah, it just kind of felt like they needed some excuse for why we don't get a whole lot of Venom action. It just feels weird, like too many conveniences in this movie. Also, this movie feels like a combination of Lord of the Rings and Michael Bay's Transformers. It's trying to combine the two, which is weird because Lord of the Rings is one of the best franchises of all time, and Michael Bay's Transformers is seen as one of the weakest franchises of all time. It's trying to evoke Lord of the Rings in it, that the stuff with the Noel scenes feels like something out of Lord of the Rings, or if Marvel were to do something similar to Lord of the Rings. And then you got the special ops team left by Chiwetel Ejiofor's character. It kind of feels like those special op teams that were hunting the Transformers down in Age of Extinction the last night. It's just a weird combination of the two. Also, the alien monsters, as I said before, that also look like they're from A Quiet Place. When they're hunting for the Codex, they can only see it if Eddie and the symbiote bond. Similar to how in Lord of the Rings, the Eye of Sauron can see Frodo when Frodo wears the ring. And also, Andy Serkis also played Gollum in Lord of the Rings. He's playing Noel in this movie, and he also directed Venom: Let There Be Carnage. I think that's, and also, so they're going to New York in this movie to try to clear their names. You would think that, okay, you're going to New York City, which is where Spider-Man lives. Still no mention of Spider-Man in this movie. In fact, it's just kind of like, once they get back to their universe at the beginning of the movie, no acknowledgement of really Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, it's brought up about Thanos without mentioning Thanos' name, which is, part of the mid-credit scene from Spider-Man No Way Home. But it just feels like this Venom franchise has potential, but they either waste the potential or they don't really deliver what fans would have liked to have seen, which is Spider-Man versus Venom. It feels like that could have been a more fitting thing. And maybe with, Venom trying to go to New York, Venom and Eddie Brock being wanted, maybe this could have been an opportunity to either had, I don't know, maybe Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, or maybe some other person playing Spider-Man, or someone playing a variant of Spider-Man. I don't know. Just have Spider-Man maybe be the threat that fights Venom, and maybe the two team up. Like there's such wasted potential with the concept that they had in here. And so it's just, what was really the point of the Venom franchise? Because they didn't really give what was rumored and hinted at for several movies, which was Venom and Spider-Man were gonna meet. It was hinted in No Way Home, in not No Way Home, Venom: Let There Be Carnage. So was Venom just sent into the MCU to, so a part of the symbiote can later attach itself to Tom Holland in a future movie? Who even knows? I know there's those scoopers that say, "Hey, Spider-Man 4 could be King in Black. Maybe this will be, Spider-Man and Venom, and Noel will be in the movie." At first, I thought that, but honestly, after watching this movie, I feel like that's unlikely. It's likely he might put the black suit on, and maybe that triggers Nolan to coming into the MCU. I don't know. It's up to Sony to make that decision. But yeah, overall, with Venom: The Last Dance, this was a movie that, there's a lot that I liked in this movie and enjoyed, and there's a lot that I didn't hate, but was just let down and was just found mind-boggling. Although I will say this movie is better than Joker 2. I at least enjoy, well, some people might think, well, Joker 2 might be the better movie, but this was the more enjoyable movie. At least the expectations for this movie weren't as high, and there's fun action, there's enjoyable moments, and the third act was just way better. So if you're going to see a comic book movie in theaters this month, go see Venom: The Last Dance, not jo- Joker 2. But yeah, it looks like Deadpool and Wolverine has won the comic book battle of 2024. It really had no competition this year. I mean, Madam Web was a huge letdown. Joker 2 was a letdown. Venom: The Last Dance was kind of what you expected it to be, maybe a little bit better. If you're a fan of both Venom movies, you're probably going to love this movie. And I don't really have high hopes for Craven. Here's hoping that 2025 is a better year for comic book movies. I mean, we're getting Superman, Fantastic Four, um, Captain America: Brave New World looks better than what it sounded like it was going to be. I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic for 2025. But yeah, Venom: The Last Dance had some solid performances, had some solid action, had some funny moments, but some concepts felt wasted. I have a feeling that Noel, as cool as he looked, as the promise and development at first looked, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Maybe the MCU can take it somewhere. But yeah, I'm going to give Venom: The Last Dance a C plus. I would say I enjoyed this movie. It's dumb fun, but this whole Venom franchise probably could have been better. And I don't know. Here's hoping that maybe the MCU can get Venom in and do Venom right. And if, I don't know. I mean, Secret Wars, maybe Tom Hardy could reappear as Venom in Secret Wars. I don't know. You never know. We don't know how much money this movie's going to make. We don't know if Tom Hardy wants to do any more. It seems like the way it ended on a satisfying note for his character arc, but who knows at this point? Who really knows? But yeah, Venom: The Last Dance. Have you seen it? What you think about it? And what is your favorite of the Sony Spider-Man universe? I would say Venom: Let There Be Carnage and Venom: The Last Dance are probably the two best movies. This was a lot better than Morbius and Madam Web, though. That I'll definitely say. It was a million times better than those movies. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. Please share us with someone that likes the Venom movies or is interested in seeing Venom: The Last Dance. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.